Former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov has stated his desire for number 4 ranked lightweight contender Islam Makhachev to receive recognition for his accomplishments achieved inside the Octagon. To get his way, the Eagle followed promotion chief Dana White around and demanded that his Dagestani stablemate be given a crack at the 155-pound title. Here is everything that we are aware of at this moment. To begin, let's look at what Michael Chandler has to say on the Khabib subject. Ranked 5th Michael Chandler has no idea what all the fuss is about. Nothing against Islam. You say he looks fantastic, you say he looks invincible at times, but he hasn't beaten anybody. 5th-ranked Michael Chandler told MMA Fighting. That is correct. He defeated number 14 before going on to defeat Dan Hooker, who was on a 3 or 4 fight losing run. People will remark, well, one of your victories was over Dan Hooker, so what are you talking about? I fought Dan Hooker at another time. He just finished a 25-minute workout with Dustin Poirier, the world's number 2 lightweight. I'm not suggesting Islam is a bad religion. We cannot say that he is good yet. It's a premature adoration. Based on recent comments, the feeling appears to be mutual. Makhachev, 22-1, the winner of 10 straight with 6 finishes, will face former champion Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight strap. Stripped in the aftermath of this debacle atop the UFC 280 pay-per-view (PPV) event on Saturday, October 22, 2022, inside Etihad Arena on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, UAE. If Makhachev wins, he could end up facing Chandler somewhere down the line, assuming iron. That battle may also be scheduled if both Makhachev and Chandler lose, so there's a lot at stake in the coming weeks. Moving on, Jose Aldo is still interested in making a boxing move. Aldo recently spoke with Globo Esporte about what he believes would be the next step in his life and career. Right now, I'm trying to figure out which road to take, Aldo explained. I'm not going to fight in MMA. I appreciate everyone who has contacted me from other promotions, but I have not left the UFC. I am still under contract with them. I'll see where I fit in. Boxing is an option, Aldo added. It was always a dream of mine and I never hid it from anyone. It was always a fantasy, but let's wait and see. Everyone tells me I'm still young and have a few years ahead. First and foremost, with the arrival of my son, I want to enjoy my family, and then I'll consider my career options. Aldo first hinted at a transition to boxing in 2017, shortly after defeating Frankie Edgar for the interim UFC featherweight title at UFC 200. He had previously lost the belt to Conor McGregor at UFC 194 before McGregor went to lightweight and exited the 145-pound division. Aldo might become the latest former UFC fighter to transition to the ring. UFC icons Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort are just 2 names who have found new success in boxing. Aldo's striking is still on point, as evidenced by his recent UFC victories over Rob Font, Pedro Munoz, and Marlon Vera. If he decides to continue participating, boxing may be a route to a new reign for the King of Rio. Following that, White dismisses steroid accuser. One person accused the UFC president of using steroids in the comments section. This accusation comes when the promotion's biggest star, Conor McGregor, is involved in controversy after a report revealed he is yet to be tested by USADA in 2022. White, not one to take fabrication lightly, as evidenced by a post about Mark Zuckerberg renting out the UFC Apex, retaliated. After implying that the claim tells a lot about the person, White reaffirmed the importance of 10x health systems in his health and life. The douche who said steroids is the type of person you can't help but like. The 10x health system is amazing and has altered my life, White replied. White believes that his work with the organization has allowed him to live a much longer life than the one he had before the worrisome diagnosis, and with that, he will be able to continue at the helm of the UFC ship for much longer. Next up, for the time being, Conor McGregor appears to have settled his issue with Michael Bisping. McGregor responded to Bisping's latest debate in a recent Twitter video. "Hey Mike, this is Conor," McGregor said. "I saw you didn't realize I was only acting. I thought you'd figured it out. All my love, brother. God bless the show, God bless my hubby, and God bless the fam. Oh yes." McGregor hasn't fought since a doctor-assisted stoppage loss to Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 last year. He's been healing from leg surgery and says he'll be back next year. Bisping resigned from MMA after a loss against Kelvin Gastelum, but he is still a staple in the MMA media. He and McGregor's relationship has been difficult over the years, as indicated by several recent back and forths. McGregor and Bisping appear to have calmed down following their latest altercation, as he focuses on his film career while working his way back into combat. Moving on, Dan Lambert discusses a possible AEW return. In a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, Lambert confirmed his intention to return to the professional wrestling business. "Not just now," Lambert replied. "We completed our feud with the Men of the Year and Scorpio Sky against Wardlow around 2 months ago, and Sky dropped the belt to Wardlow. The Sky was going to take a few months to recover from a knee injury, and Ethan Page was being repackaged to do what he's doing today with the firm and working with MJF. So I simply felt it was a nice time. Things seemed to be winding down," Lambert explained. "I felt like I was getting stale, even though the reactions were still excellent and it was still entertaining. But after that show, I grabbed Tony Khan and said, yeah, I think it's run its course. I don't want to regress or overstay my welcome, so that'll suffice for me." "Oh man," he exclaimed. "Sure, whatever you desire. Maybe we'll come up with an excellent concept and you can come back later. With thanks, rights to Fightful. Lambert and ATT have demonstrated that MMA and professional wrestling can coexist. He recently stated that more MMA fighters might debut in professional wrestling in the future. Lambert appears to be satisfied with his decision to leave AEW, at least for the time being. If an intriguing element of his career develops, we may see Lambert return to AEW sooner rather than later. Following that, there has to be a way to put all ranked fighters in, says O'Neill. Casey O'Neill, the number 10 ranked women's flyweight contender, was recently interviewed by the All-Stars John High & Co. about Rosas Jr.'s inclusion to UFC 4 following his unanimous decision victory over Mando Gutierrez during Week 9 of DWCS 2022. King Casey revealed that it irritates her to see fighters recruited instead of her, especially when they are two novices who have yet to enter the Octagon. I'm upset because I'm not yet in the video game. I think that video game is nonsense, O'Neill added, smiling. I was going to say FEA Sports, but I won't because I still want to play the game. However, please include me in the game. O'Neill also wondered why EA Sports couldn't add every ranked fighter, considering the size of the roster in games like FIFA, which has over 17,000 players across 700 playable teams. It's insane. I believe there must be a way to include all ranked fighters in the game. FIFA, for example, contains all of the players, and there are a lot of them, O'Neill noted. I can't tell you how many, but more than 4,000. And you're telling me that we can't rank in the top 15 of every UFC division? That's insane. Regardless of O'Neill and Hill's objections, players will have to do without the knockout power of Sweet Dreams and the ever-improving well-rounded game of King Casey for the time being. Finally, Hussein Kalikov, an MMA fighter, finishes with a front kick. The finish that Kalikov used is comparable to Chandler's when he knocked out Tony Ferguson in a fight that was a contender for Knockout of the Year earlier this year at UFC 274. At UFC 281, scheduled for November, Chandler will compete against Dustin Poirier. After suffering a defeat at OFC 11 in November of 2017 by way of a head kick at the hands of Asılbek Rustambek Ulu, Kalikov has won his last 2 bouts in a row. Since moving up to the bantamweight division from the flyweight division, he has shown significant improvement. A fight for the middleweight title between Ruslan Shamalov and Nikita Sharshavin served as the main event of OFC 24, which also featured a battle for the interim featherweight title between Adalet Nurmatov and Amin Gasimov. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you loved and enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button for content like this in the future. Thanks for watching.